Over the years, district court has grown and adapted to meet the needs of the people that it serves. And today we're going to talk about a mental health component of district court, the way that district court meets the needs of that segment of our population. And with me today is District Court Judge David Schweitzer. Welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and we always love to have you here.
Well, thank you so much. We've been talking about this new division of district court that you have recently instituted for the needs of our population that have mental health issues.
Well, you know, we've talked in the past about the DWI court,
Yes.
Veterans Treatment Court, Mental Health Court, the accountability court idea. And of course, Judge and I have for some time, Judge Ohm and I have for some time now, known that there was an issue about mental health, that we know the accountability courts work. We have empirical evidence that they work in DWIs, drugs, veterans treatment. So why not apply this concept to mental health? And so we've been investigating the idea, and we've been doing it for some time now. Now, we deal with this on a day in and day out basis. What I'm talking about here is more formalizing that and setting some practice and procedures to it that we kind of have been doing on a case-by-case basis, but maybe do it on a more organized, systematic approach.
Yes, so now that you have created a structure for mental health court, what are some of the guiding principles?
Well, you know, like we talked, you've got to first, whenever you're going to make an accountability court and make it sustainable, there are certain things that need to exist. Community support, you have to be able to make it sustainable financially. Those are some of the bigger problems. Identifying your target population. Who is it that's going to be involved in the mental health court? I mean, you could say, you know, is everybody that commits a crime having some mental health issues? Well, they might at the time, you know, who knows? That's not the target population that you want to deal with in these intensive accountability courts. So you've got these big overall issues, and then it even is smaller things like transportation. You know, in the DWI court, one of the big problems we face is one of the consequences, we take your license away. You're not allowed to drive. Well, getting back and forth to your probation officer, getting back and forth to the classes that you need to take in the absence of public transportation that goes where you need it to. So you have big problems that you need to address in organizing this, and then you have the smaller, more mundane or everyday problems that you have to address.
Yes. So now that you have you've figured out a way for mental health court to work, what are some of the strategies that are used to implement?
Well, what we're doing right now is meeting with the different groups of people that have an interest in mental health court, finding out what they have to offer. You know, one of the big things I want in the end result is to, for lack of a better term, have a catalog of services, just so that there's a single point of entry somewhere that knows what services are available for the chronic mentally ill. Services outside of the justice system. And, you know, maybe even use, at that point, a true diversion so that you never come into the justice system. Beyond that, then, have an organized approach within the justice system, review, probation, evaluation, and having all this information available to all of the participants so that so that the right hand knows what the left hand's doing. I think that's when you accomplish something.
And did you have to create this catalog of services? There really wasn't such an animal that already existed, right?
As far as I know right now, it doesn't exist because we don't have one. But one of the discussions yesterday in our meeting is that, you know, it may be out there and we just don't know it. And it may be out there and the other service providers just don't know it. So part of it is finding out what's there and what isn't there, getting it to exist, and then what is there, making sure that everybody knows about it. I know it sounds, you know, after all these years of having this issue, it sounds like you would think these problems had been resolved, but as late as yesterday, these problems have not been resolved.
How important is public support for the drug court program?
Oh, you know,
For mental health program, rather.
Well, in all of them. And
Yes.
if you don't have the support of the community, if the community's not behind the idea of accountability courts, even though we know they work, even though we can prove by statistics that they work. But if your community's not behind that idea, it's destined to failure. You've got to, in order to make these sustainable, and that's the big concept, is sustainability, your community has to be behind it. And, everybody gets excited about the issue that they're faced with right that minute. I'm the same way. The case I'm concerned about is the one right in front of me right that minute. It takes a lot more thought, effort, and work to deal with the long-term overall problem. And a lot of times what we do is once the initial fire on your leg is put out, you're not that worried about the fire. Well, one of the things about having the community behind it is that you're looking to put the fire out well into the future.
I see. Now that you have these courts that are addressing particular needs of veterans, those with drug issues, those with mental health issues, how does that all work with scheduling?
Well, yeah, it's a little difficult to get the time. It is, yeah. Honestly, it's a lot more work for the judge and I. It's a lot more work for our staffs. I am so proud of our staff because they're committed to this idea. They know it works to the extent that they're willing to put in the extra time and effort, well beyond their regular job descriptions, to make these things work. I mean, if you could see these people, doing this when they don't have to, and to be excited about doing it just because it's going to have a successful result, or just because they know in the end we're making a difference that we weren't making before.
It sounds like you have a great group of committed public servants.
We do. We really do. And I know a lot of times people, they talk about public servants and, people employed by the government and stuff. But if you could see it on a day in and day out basis like I do, I am very impressed with these ladies we have out front and what they put into this, and our clerks in court, and what they put into it to make sure that it's successful.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say as we wrap up the segment?
No, other than we're going to continue to work on this. It's a problem that isn't going to go away. We all know that. I want the community to be aware. I would like the community to, be behind this idea. And court's open to the public. Come and watch DWI court, drug court, veterans treatment court. See what the idea is. I think once you see it, you'll be changed. I promise.
And you're changing lives every day.
We hope.
Thank you so much for
Oh,
what
thank
you do.
you.
We appreciate you. And next week, we'll bring you more City News.